Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Time Travelling Toy Collector and this is Studio Series 8602. It's Cup. Cup as he appeared in Transformers the movie, the original animated variation. What can I say about this figure? I've already done a video looking at my time travelling trio, which were Cup, Blur and Hot Rod. And I'm so pleased that figures that were a key part of my original interest in the Transformers line have been reimagined in this way. So for those who are unfamiliar, and I can't imagine there's many of you who are, but for those of you who may be dipping a toe into the Transformers world or re-dipping it as I have been, the Studio Series 86 line is much like the other Studio Series lines that Hasbro are now producing for their Transformers figures, is designed to be particularly evocative of the on-screen cartoon accurate variation of the figure. So the Studio Series 86 figures are based on their appearance in the 1986 Transformers the movie, logo here, film, and they really are so far excellent. So I'm looking to do a series of reflections, reviews and maybe revelations about those figures in particular. Quick look at the packaging. We have the product shots on the back, so it doesn't really excuse me, remain in keeping with the original box, but what I do like is the box art that we get here. We have a nice view of Cup in his robot mode, which is also what we get in the box overall. And for anyone who's seen any of my other Studio Series unboxings, you'll also be aware that tucked away on the inside we do get a diorama. Anyway, without further ado, let's get this chap opened up and extract him, which he's very resistant to doing. There we go. So we'll pop the box away. It does come with the obligatory instructions, as you would expect, and it also, of course, comes with the warning that there are some small parts in there. Please don't eat them. You will choke. You will die. So don't do that. And we have, of course, the beautiful diorama, which I'll just pop there in the studio, and I'll just pop Studio 86 Cup on there, so we can get our first sort of up close and personal look at this figure. I'll zoom in a little as well. So straight away I'm thrilled to be in a position to say how beautiful this figure is, and I'm going to start by, and I don't do an awful lot of this, I admit, but I'm going to start by just bringing in old school Cup for the purposes of comparison. So in terms of a head sculpt, you can see the natural evolution between the two figures. This is the figure Cup that we got in 1986, for what it's worth. And I loved it. I mean, again, these were very new to me at the time, so I didn't know it any better, and I don't think there was that much better. And unlike some of his peers, he actually had separate legs, admittedly without any articulation at all. And actually quite well articulated arms, albeit just so that you could fold them in and hide them when he converts to pickup truck mode, although it's a funny looking pickup truck. But yeah, Cup, fantastic. A little bit of my personal history there, but didn't really look like this facially, yeah, but didn't really look like this in on screen. So thank you, Cup. I'm going to retire you over here, and we're going to go in a little bit more closely to Studio 86 Cup. I think the face sculpt is really lovely. There's hints of translucent plastic here, which gives a sense that maybe some kind of windshield activity. They're beautiful Autobot insignia. We have really clear and really good articulation in the arms, something my old Cup didn't have. This Cup does have. Is limited, risk, excuse me, my excitement of having something like this in my hand, waist articulation, and also hip, thigh, and knee articulation, and brilliantly a little bit of ankle articulation as well, just to really help get him in some dynamic poses. He does have, which is a feature that reminds me also of the Empire Strikes Back edition of C-3PO back in the day, detachable arms and legs. They just pop off like that. It's very straightforward. And it's not because he's a modular transformer, but it's so that he can actually you can actually recreate some of those sequences from the movie where he is torn apart, and Hot Rod has to try to rebuild him. So yeah, beautiful figure, beautiful articulation. Let's turn him around. Much like his 86 counterpart, there's a little bit of back kibble, but it's significantly reduced, and certainly isn't the heavyweight backpack that the 1986 version carried with him. Head articulation, it's a kind of ball joint there, which gives us what we need. But yeah, posable, a lot of fun. Looks like he means business. Stands up on his own. Comes with, let me just rescue it from the packaging here. Comes with a blaster that's quite reminiscent of his Generation 1 counterpart. And also here, nice little gimmick, is the, I'll just leave it in there so you can really see it, and then my fingers start to cover it up, which is no use. It's the dispenser of Energon treats, which will be really useful if you're face to face with some Sharkticons or Junkions, and you happen to know the universal greeting. 10 points if you do, and you're probably saying it in the video right now. Well done. No other prizes are available, I'm afraid. I'm going to leave them in there for fear of them shooting out and flying all over the place, because the main event is Cup. So as you know from any previous videos you may have seen, Transformers, I grew up with these things and I really love them, and they're one of the things that I think really fired our imaginations as children, because if we're honest, they evolved as a storyline a lot more, I think, certainly in the early years, than they ever evolved as a toy line, in terms of their full range of playability. And I think our imagination allowed our engagement with those toys to be to fulfill the potential that existed. I think what we're seeing now is the product of a lot of people who grew up in the same way, with their imagination fired and their engineering skills honed and developed, possibly so they one day could come back and go, you know what, we can revisit these figures and these characters and really make them pop. He actually looks quite built up and muscly here. I don't remember thinking that of him in the film. But anyway, let's just take a bit of a close look at that face sculpt. That is a beautiful face sculpt. You can see his eyes really popping in that shot. And yeah, ultimately this is a really good figure. We want to make sure that those detachable arms are in as far as they can be to avoid any kind of arm dismemberment against our will. But you can see the beautiful colorization. We've got the Autobot insignia, of course, inlaid paneling. There's no sticker placement on these. I always used to enjoy putting stickers on, but there's no need to with these ones. And yeah, the detailing all the way into the legs. Lots of good paneling, lots of additional shading. Yeah, this is it's a complete departure from what we had back in 1986. And I, for one, am super impressed with the quality of the figure and the quality of Cup's head sculpt. I mean, look at that. Look at the character in that. That in itself speaks volumes if you're looking at toy photography, which of course is another thing that I am looking at, and I'm really grateful that these figures came along in a very timely fashion, just as I was looking for something to invest my time and energies in. And I think that this is, really truly fantastic as a piece. So for me, I think this is an excellent figure. I don't tend to do the on-screen transformations, mostly because I'm not as dexterous at it as I was once many years ago, So I will do it off screen and then come back to you with his robot mode. So I will see you in 3, 2, 1. And lo and behold, there we have Cup fully transformed up into his pickup truck mode, futuristic pickup truck mode. And again, this variation looks superb. Never really too sure what the first one was going for, but this one really does capture rather well that original version of Cup, whilst being far more attentive to the on-screen version. We do now get this transparent plastic here that's used well to suggest a canopy, albeit filled in with technological bits and pieces in there. We've got a beautiful paint job of the Autobot insignia again visible there, as well as on his rear struts on both sides. And it has a low-level loading area to carry bits and pieces should that be necessary. He's quite a small, compact figure, and that translates into his robot mode. If we look underneath, things do pack away generally quite well. It looks like a bit of a conflated and confusing yoga pose, so we can see his arms and his legs, to be fair, but they are tucked away well. As transformations go, this for me is a relatively straightforward transformation. There are occasionally, particularly around the front section here, some aspects that aren't the easiest to tab in. They should be. There's no obvious reason why they don't tab in, but they are a little bit frustrating at times, although it didn't lead to any significant swearing on my part in this occasion, I'm pleased to report. But he is a beautiful figure, quite lightweight actually, but a beautiful figure nevertheless. And the paint job that you can see here, on both in terms of the molded plastic colorization anyway, but the additional paint decals, really nice. So does it need any stickers? Not really. There's nothing that stickers would add, possibly battle damage, but he doesn't really need that, to be perfectly honest. He's old man Cup. He's seen his fair share of war. You've got the concealed wheels there in his legs. You've got the wheels there. They are plastic, but they do work. He does have clearance, so you can roll him backwards and forwards. He also comes with a few tabs, as do many of the new Rangers, for storage purposes. So we can store his gun in a couple of locations, as well as the energon holder. We can where we have the energon treats, we can attach. Now you see, for some reason I'm losing the plot slightly. We can tab it in here. There we go. That makes much more sense. Sorry, apologies for that. I'm trying to look over the top to see what I'm doing. And we can house that there, which also makes for a handy sidearm. I'm not sure if it can tab in here, but it might do. I suspect it won't. No, it doesn't. So really, we've got this side point here, and the other side point there is where we can tab in the other accessory. But for me, it's about the vehicle mode, and it's about the figure mode that we've looked at already. And does it hold its own? And does it really evoke, as I suspect we all would wish it to and hope that it does, the spirit of Transformers 1986? And I have to say, yeah, I think this is a figure that I was really thrilled to reacquire in its modern iteration, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out and how it looks. The great posability, great displayability, and again some great playability as well. So if you're an adult collector, you're going to love adding Studio Series 8602 to your range of Transformers, because it really is the figure, like in my experience so far, the other Studio Series figures, it really is the figure you wanted it to be back in the 80s. And of course, if you're growing up with Transformers now, or you've become a collector of the new Transformers now, and you might not know too much different, then you're going to like this as well. It is a tribute to the on-screen appearances of Cup in that animated movie and beyond in the series that followed it. I love it. I think it's a great addition. I was wary because, you know, you go back to those original figures, and I'll just point out again my time-traveling trio of Cup, Hot Rod and Blur, to see them being revisited and remade. I know they have been numerous times, but that all happened, if you like, out of my eye shot because I wasn't collecting Transformers, I wasn't following Transformers. So it's only in the last year or so that I've really reignited my interest in collection of Transformers. And yeah, I was a little nervous at the reintroduction of their on-screen personas as per the films, but actually I have to say it's a really beautiful display piece, and it's a lovely inspirational play piece as well, because it really triggers my creativity. Speaking personally, my creativity when I'm looking to undertake some toy photography. So when I have this figure teamed up with his Studio Series 86 compatriots, I'm looking forward to doing some more toy photography as the 86 range increases. And I will take you through all the 86 figures as I have them and as new ones are released from Hasbro. So if you weren't sure whether or not to add Cup into your toy collection or your Transformers collection, I hope this look at the figure both in robot mode and here in vehicle mode has helped you with that. I for one love it, wouldn't be without it, and think it's a really nice piece. I'm very glad to have him. There's still a little bit of tabbing that needs to be revisited there, but overall nothing too bad, not too much hollowness on the underside either. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm really happy with this as a Studio 86 entrant into my collection, and I hope it's helped you decide whether or not he has a place in your collection. If so, do hit that like button. It means the world to me if you do that. And whilst you're there, why not also drop a subscription to the channel and turn on the notifications as well, because then you'll never miss a future Transformers review, reflection, and also you'll also pick up on some of the other stuff that I'll be looking at, which may be Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Battlestar Galactica. Who knows what the future may hold. Anyway, you have been a fantastic audience. This has been Studio Series 86 Cup, and I remain the time-travelling toy collector, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Until then, take care and goodbye for now.